everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips Podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we're live on a Tuesday night, ready to do some podcasting. Find us everywhere you get podcasts. The official weapon of the show is
folding chair.
And the unofficial sport,
bullet ball.
And bullet ball extreme. Do you have any banter? I don't think I have any either. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe I do have some banter, and I know y'all want to hear the song anyway. Let me pull out the banter music. Why am I having a hard time finding it? Son of a bitch. What did I do? This was, here we go. Do you have any banter? Talk to me. Do you have any banter? Talk to me. Do you have any banter? Do you have any banter?
I do.
Talk to me. Banter. Talk to me. Do you have any banter?
I do.
I had a couple things I was thinking about. The first one is the NBA is returning.
Yes. You update the calendar. I was like, oh, bitch, let's go.
Yeah, I needed to see like how we're going to schedule things for the next few months and stuff, because unlike last year when we had half season tickets and some very nice expensive seats, we downgraded the expensiveness of the seats, but we got a full season of games. Starting with this weekend, there's preseason basketball.
Let's go, preseason.
So I guess I'll be preseason hype and going out there to watch us play our probably backups.
I'm fine with that.
Man, I'm very excited about the NBA season, but just as a show note to everybody, this means episodes are going to be a bit more sporadic once the season gets started.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have some weeks where it's just like we're going to 2-3 games in a week, you know? So just letting people know, if you're like, oh man, what happened to the show? It's like, oh, we're still doing the show, but there may or may not be some times where you're like, oh, I thought we get an episode and you didn't.
Yes, I love the NBA. It's one of my favorite sports.
Yeah.
Of all time. I've been a Charlotte Hornets fan since the beginning, 1988. Been down since day one. They're my favorite team, and I've always wanted to be able to even afford like full season tickets. So I'm really excited. I was like, I get to go to like all of the games. You know.
I think also, I think we're gearing up for possibly a good season for the Hornets. I think it could go either way, but like I think people are starting to see like the pieces are here if they're healthy and stuff. But more importantly than that, I was looking at the schedule. We have a lot of games this year where they're like off times, and I really like that. Like we have games at like noon. We have some games at like 5 and 6 on the weekends. There's a game at noon on like the Black Friday. Like I'm so excited about this season and going to these games. So at any rate, I was looking forward to that. They had media day and all the teams were talking about what they're looking forward to for the year, and everyone's so full of hope and jokes and all this stuff. So yep, the NBA is returning. Yeah, very excited.
I'm excited. I get to pull out. I got like a lot of Hornets like hoodies and things like that. I get to pull those back out and sport those and things like that. And I'm really excited about putting out all my Hornets gear. I got Hornets earrings. I've been looking for a Hornets necklace though. I ain't quite found one, but I like my Hornets earrings and stuff. So I have really been having a ball. One day I was in the Hornets store and I had so much Hornets gear on. Somebody stopped me and was like, ma'am, do you know what such and such is? I was like, I do not know where it is. I was like, well, goddamn.
The VP debate is tonight. I'm not as excited as I was about the presidential debate as I am about, obviously there's, Kamala Harris was stepping in. There was a lot to it. And, I knew she was going to eviscerate this nigga. They're not going to fact check it, but I don't think it'll be a problem for Walls. I think the not fact checking thing bothers me still. It's not okay just because I think other people will handle it better than Biden. The fact that you let a guy like JD Vance, who is absolutely going to get on that stage and just lie and make shit up. The fact that you let that be okay is disgusting to me, CBS. They say they're going to fact check it in real time on social media. Then you can do the shit on the fucking, on the dais. You can do it right there.
Yes.
And these are such obvious lies. We're not talking about some elaborate fact check where we're saying, JD Vance said that the domestic, that GDP went up by 0.3%, but really it went up by 0.4%. No, we're not. That's not what we're talking about. Y'all know what the fuck we're talking about. We're talking about these motherfuckers getting up here and just making shit up. So I'm kind of disgusted with that, but not that I think much is at stake with a VP debate. I think the horse race nature of our media tries to play it up. I saw a headline that was like, why this historic VP debate could have more could be bigger, more important than you would imagine. I was like, it doesn't need to be.
Trying for ratings, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be. It's fine. It's all right.
Like
anyway,
a regular VP debate, you have a lot of people who watch the presidential. They go VP, okay.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. We know that actual presidential debates don't normally change much. It's okay. It'll be fine. But yeah, that's basically my banter. And though I actually had one more thing. I'll try not to get too deep into it, but I was thinking a lot how a lot of people masquerade a lot of people's ineptitude is masquerading as integrity. And by that I mean, it reminded me of what like 90s hip hop and how I would listen to certain rappers and they'd be like underground, not mainstream, backpack rap, you know. And they would shit on the dudes that were making the money and big hits in the clubs and stuff. And they would make it seem like, yeah, I would never do something like that because that would make me some type of a sellout. And Lord knows I don't want to fill up stadiums with my listeners. Anyone can do that bullshit. And this happens all the time in real life too. Like this is not just a 90s hip hop thing. It's just that's what made me think about it. But really it's like you can't do it.
Yep.
Like facts, the fact of the matter is you might not respect their ability to do something, but they're doing something you can't do.
Agreed.
And the reason I know that is because I've watched those rappers try it. And it's hard. Everybody don't got it. Everybody can't be Jay-Z. You know, I remember, you know, Nas and Jay-Z when they got into it, and it was this whole thing of like, well, Nas has too much authenticity to make a club hit. And I'm like, no, I've listened to him try. It just unfortunately for some reason it don't hit the same for him, and it's not that for lack of trying. Is he goes and gets Genuine. He goes and gets Lauryn Hill. It's like these the Lauryn Hill joint. That's one of my favorite songs of all time. Period. Nas and Lauryn, If I Ruled the World, but and it was a hit for the record. Like it wasn't like some whack shit, but it's just, you know, Jay-Z was running the summer every summer for a bunch of summers in a row. He just managed to keep somehow finding the pulse of what the fuck was hot and being right there on it and putting it out. And so I think people do that a lot where it's, well, no, I would never sell out like that. You know, like people that say like, I don't want, this person is always going viral. Yeah, that's a talent.
Yes,
they found a way to go viral. If you're making content and your content isn't going viral, it doesn't necessarily mean that you just have too much integrity to go viral. When you upload, the purpose is to have as many people hear it as possible. It ain't happening, and that's all right too. You know, so I think people have to check themselves because there is a such thing as having too much integrity to do certain things.
I agree.
But there's also this thing of like, it ain't really my integrity. I'm just bitter because I can't do it.
Yes.
And so now I have to make it seem like everybody else that is successful or is doing something bigger than me is a worse person than I am.
Yeah, and that extends to sometimes the fans too. Because the fans will come out, you know, for people that are quote unquote underground and not as known as some of the other people, and try to act like you're the problem because, you know, this person wouldn't dare do that. And then for a lot of them over the years, I've watched a lot of people over the years, the things that they kept complaining about happened, and the person got big and the person, got famous and things like that, then all of a sudden they turn and then they retreat back to whoever the quote unquote next underground backpack rapper or whatever it is, because in their mind, their form of quote unquote integrity is not supporting people that's quote unquote made it, whatever made it is in their mind, because it's objective. It doesn't make sense. It's irrational and illogical, and nobody can quote unquote determine what that number is or how many followers that is or whatever it is. But people have a thing.
It's just normally that it's bigger than whatever you doing.
Yes.
Anytime somebody's just doing something bigger than whatever the fuck it is you want, whatever, then all of a sudden it's like, no, my integrity is I could do that. Like, no, but it's you probably couldn't, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
And it works the other way too. I remember when Jay-Z said, truthfully, I could be like, Talib Kweli, and I could be like Common Sense. And I'm like, not really. You don't really have the same level of depth when it comes to those type of like social political commentaries. You're very much a get money, and money is power, and money is legacy, and we just need to, like, it's not this deep message. It's, and that's okay too. It's not like them niggas, like, as much as people put those guys on the pedestal, it's not like all their messages were great. Sometimes they say shit where I'm like, yeah, that sounds ridiculous. So
right.
Anyway, all right, let's get into everybody's least favorite new segment.
P Diddy be wanting the body, and you gotta tell him no.
Psycho.
There's still more Puff Daddy news, guys. Stuff is still happening, still fresh in the media. Okay, so he is going to face 120 more sexual assault lawsuits.
God damn.
Yeah. Tony Busby, who you may know from such hits as the Deshaun Watson, like civil lawsuits, where he went and he had like 30 accusers and they all had stories, and it led to Deshaun Watson, like, ultimately, he didn't go to jail or anything, but I know he ultimately ended up I think being suspended from the NFL for like a year or two behind all that, and I don't remember if he settled out of court for it, because I want to say some of it was dismissed, but I can't remember. Well, yeah, how much will Deshaun Watson's civil lawsuit settle for? This is a question now. Is this a so I don't know if it ever. Oh yeah, they did reach settlements. Yeah, the 30 accusers reached settlements. Yeah, so these may end up being settled out of court situations. I don't know what the money and all that stuff looks like.
Because a lot of times, because a lot of times that's the only justice some people gonna get.
Yeah, it's not a measure of innocence or guilt when it comes to I won't be like, well, he settled out of court, therefore he's innocent. But what I was gonna say is, it's easy to dismiss Tony Busby because he gives off this ambulance chaser vibe. Like, if you've seen his videos and stuff, like, even I think I even have a clip of the press conference in here, and it's just like, I mean,
yeah, like you going,
for lack of a better term, it just looks bad. It looks like real, like, bottom feeder type lawyering shit. And I'm not saying that he's a bad person or he's not doing good work or whatever, but it's very sensationalistic. Like, he plays into it. Like, one of the things he brought up was like, there's gonna be so many A-list names, it's gonna shock you. And I'm like, no, that's like, then just fucking say it.
Ain't that the truth?
Like, if it's about justice, then like, what are we saying here? What are we really trying to do? But he's really good at drumming up that type of pressure, which does normally lead to these motherfuckers settling. Because, I mean, a lot of this stuff is probably true. I mean, the same thing happened with Deshaun Watson. And it's damning evidence to put out in the public. So
another instance.
Let me see if I can make it bigger. There we go.
Another instance.
Oh, shit. Hold on. Y'all gonna get that echo. Fuck. And then that one person. All right. Here we go.
Another minor
Fraud.
told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim perform oral sex upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was drugged, and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual, minor, was raped, and then other individuals took turns raping her.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because, one, these are things that have been alleged. These are things we've discussed on the show with other people alleging them. This is why I read those articles, and sometimes I spare people the details, but
Right.
Whenever you hear somebody say like, what, you can't even just fly one, so we all sex trafficking. Are we all sex trafficking now? Is this what everybody's doing?
Mm-mm.
Then he has this clip too. This is the one where he alleges that it's going to be a lot of people being exposed in
The
it.
biggest secret in the entertainment industry.
And like I said, I understand the optics. He's got a big ass phone number behind him. It's it's his law firm on the Cryon, on the what do you call that thing? The step and repeat. It does give like this weird vibe, like this Better Call Saul shit, but that doesn't mean that these aren't real victims. Like,
agreed.
That is what happened with Deshaun Watson too. Like, low key, he could be like the newest Gloria Allred, since her daughter opted to be on the other side. Yeah, so I hope people don't look at this shit and then dismiss him out of hand. Like, well, look at it,
That really wasn't a secret at all, has finally been revealed to the world. The wall of silence has now been broken, and victims are coming forward. Our team has had at this point more than 3,285 individuals contact us, with people claiming to have been victimized by Sean Combs. After vetting, we now represent 120 individuals who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases.
So that, I think people are very, it fuels the rumor mill of like, there's going to be all these other stars and stuff involved. When he says stuff like that, but I think he does that on purpose. Like, I don't know that there's gonna be a deluge of big names involved or not. But I know it serves the purpose of heightening the pressure on Puff Daddy and his legal team to settle, to be like, you should just keep all this on the hush.
And you should know, to the extent the clients feel comfortable, we also intend to make these individuals available to the authorities, specifically to the FBI. And you should also know a few of them have already been spoken to by the FBI. Now, before we discuss the nature of the claims and claimants themselves, let me comment on the large volume of calls we have received since our first announcement. Even before the indictment of Sean Combs, we had received a small volume of calls and had screened a handful of cases. After the indictment of Sean Combs and the announcement that we were pursuing these claims, the floodgates opened.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons that they are not letting him out, is because there are people who, according to the allegations, have been bullied into silence, threatened. And so, of course, these people are like, if the people who are coming forward said they were threatened, then there's a shit ton of people who were like, the threat was enough, I'm not coming forward. You put him in jail, I feel safe, I feel like he can't get to me, I feel like nothing. well, now I actually do. If he's gonna be in there and there's gonna be some justice, now I'm coming forward. So,
Agreed.
But yeah, it's just, we'll see what happens with that. But that's 120 cases. Like I said, I would not dismiss this out of hand just because I know the vibe of Tony Busby, but that motherfucker gets shit done. I mean, he's settled some prominent cases, and I think they're mostly civil cases. But shit, I mean, for a lot of, like you said, for a lot of people, this is the justice you're gonna get.
Yep. And I'm not trying to find it, for a lot of them, they might not feel like going to they was like, look, I don't want to my name on nobody's record, nothing. I just want my coins so I can just keep moving and pay for whatever I need to pay for, or something like that. Like for a lot of people, it is not for the information to put out there, because a lot of times when people are so insensitive to shit like this, because if I'm a victim, I got family, I got friends, I got loved ones, I got people around me that might not even know this has happened to me, and I might not want them to know these things have happened to me. Yep. So because I could put myself in danger in my own household. People underestimate this shit when they're like, everybody should come out, everybody should just say something. No, bitch, you do that. You make that choice on your own. Yep. And me as a victim, I can make the choice of on my own to speak or not to speak. It is my story to tell, and each victim has a right to choose to tell their story in or not to tell their story.
Yep. Diddy seeks house arrest as he awaits sex trafficking trial, so he's trying again to find a way to get out. This time, before it was, well, just take my passport and my kids' passports, and here's the money, and just let me out. And they said no. So then I guess and then he challenged that, and they said no again. And so this time it's a notice to the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, aiming to challenge Judge Andrew L. Carter's ruling that denied Combs' request for release. They said they were going to challenge it, so this is not a surprise or whatever. But yeah, now they're saying that he should, they should let him out on house arrest.
I could see them denying that too, going, nope, stay your ass in there, stay in there, because you have phone calls, all of a sudden we can't keep it track. Nope, you stay the fuck in jail, sir.
Yep. I mean, I don't really think it's hard to see. What I think is also funny is his legal team, of course, is still having to do their job. So they got to say something. And once again, I don't think you need to go to law school to say this shit. I think you can make it up. As Mr. Combs' legal team has emphasized, he cannot address every meritless allegation in what has become a reckless media circus, said Erica Wolf. She issued a statement. That said, Mr. Combs emphatically and categorically denies as false and defamatory any claim that he sexually abused anyone, including minors.
And something else they love to do, a lot of these abusers, they love for women to represent them. I'm pretty sure they probably have all types of dudes on the law front. They would be more than happy to do this, but they be like, nope, stick a woman up front.
I think his main lawyer is a dude, but yeah, a lot of times they want women as spokespeople, for the optics.
Yeah.
He looks forward to proving his innocence and vindicating himself in court. I'm telling you, it's an easy job. All of y'all could do this. Everyone listening to this podcast, you could do this job. You don't need to go to school. It's so easy. It's just nothing's true. Everyone's lying. He didn't do anything. Matter of fact, can't wait to go to court. He's glad he's in jail because he can't wait to get in the courtroom and face these motherfuckers. Okay, forget everything you read in the media, everything you heard. Don't trust anybody. Just why would he would never do this? Okay, he is so thankful for this opportunity to face his accusers in public. You're like, okay, sure he is. Dame Dash calls for transparency amid industry allegations. Silence is the loudest thing. So people think it's people are talking about these lawsuits and all that stuff. Dash started by expressing frustration over the silence of individuals facing serious accusations. This is a very transparent place in the world these days. It's very easy to say that's not true. I wasn't at that party. I didn't do what they said I did. Referring to his own experiences, Dash mentioned how he once questioned Jay-Z about rumors of their alleged beef. Jay-Z, according to Dash, preferred not to address the rumors publicly to avoid bringing fuel to the fire. However, Dash disagreed with this approach, explaining that staying silent often has the opposite effect. Being silent is sometimes the loudest thing in the world, he remarked. The conversation took a turn when Dash brought up recent explosive allegations by Jaguar Wright, a fellow industry figure who has been vocal about misconduct in the music business. Dash noted that Wright was making claims without saying allegedly, which is something he learned the hard way after being sued for failing to use the term. Yeah, I think it's interesting in that Jaguar Wright legitimately says some shit that is just false. And she's been saying shit for years. But during this time, people so want the juicy conspiracy hot gossip, and these platforms that would not have her on any other time because they feel like she's mentally unstable, make jokes about it and everything.
Right.
But you can get clicks right now if you bring her on your podcast and just listen to her like everything she's saying is the gospel truth without questioning or pushing back on anything. And the clip will go viral and people will share it, and some people will go, see, she told y'all. But it's kind of sad that people are doing that with her. I feel similar, and I know people will disagree, but I feel similar to when people used to have Kanye on in the middle of a mental health breakdown. Like, everybody would be mad at what Kanye was saying, but I'd be like, why the fuck is this outlet putting a microphone in his face like this makes sense? Right. Nothing he's saying makes sense. And shame on the people that would listen and try to make it make sense. It'd be like, no, see, you got to understand what he's saying. And I'm like, that's really a shame. You're that starved for content that you would act like this isn't the rantings of a fucking insane person at this moment. Anyway, but yeah, so I think it's interesting with Dame Dash on this because it always comes back to Jay-Z. He don't like Jay-Z. They fell out, and it's funny how this thing is obviously at this point really about Puffy and all this shit. And Dame's like, it reminds me of me and Jay-Z having a fallout. Like, we know, bro.
Yeah, and these things aren't the same. What are you talking about?
Yeah, this is like Scottie Pippen hating Michael Jordan. Or it's like, I don't know what happened with y'all motherfuckers, but if this is all you got to talk about for the rest of your life, damn, bro. Like, I hope it gets better. All right. So I think that's all oh no. And then one last story. Author Chris Todd, that's the white man who pretended to be a black man.
Dude, yes.
Who wrote the alleged Kim Porter secret memoir.
And not trying funny. Maybe it's just me. 6 pages. Bitch, y'all should know that shit wasn't real.
Right.
I hate to be like that. Like when they do this shit be long as fuck.
So he went on this Art of Dialogue, which I don't know if it's like a podcast or a YouTube show or something. But I see their clips go viral all the time. And so they interviewed him and asked him about it. He said that the book was more than just a memoir. I was asked to use that name, he said, referring to Jamal T. Millwood. The T standing for Tupac. He said it's a nod to Tupac's Machiavelli persona. He admitted there were a lot of moving parts behind the scenes with multiple people contributing to the project. He emphasized that using a predominantly African-American name was a spiritual and strategic move, symbolizing a bigger message in honor of both Tupac and Kim Porter.
If you don't get out my face.
I was torn between using my own name, Chris Todd, or adopting Jamal T. Millwood. The T stands for Tupac. And the name is a subtle tribute to the rapper's influence. More importantly, it was a collaborative effort and, in a sense, a leap of faith.
What you gonna tell us next? You was a part of the Islam, Muslims of Islam, Brothers of Islam's, trying to support your brotherhood. What the fuck is he talking about?
He addressed the fact that people like, you a white man, you made this shit up. He said, there are African Americans behind this book.
Okay.
He affirmed, though he admitted that the name wasn't reflective of a single person. It was more about what it represented. To me, this is a collaborative effort. He was challenged about the optics of using the name Jamal T. Millwood. Damn, that seems like that's all this article's about. With some African American community accusing him of clout chasing. Optically, it might look that way, he said. It's all about changing paradigms. This motherfucker is good, okay? This dude is good. I can't believe y'all let him sit up there and play in y'all face like this. He just pulled out a couple words on y'all, and y'all was like, okay, I guess he answered that question. It's all about shifting the parameters of the paradigms.
Bitch, what you talking about?
Why are you pretending to be a black man? it would look that way, right?
That it is that way. What are we talking about here?
But you have to understand, African Americans are behind this book.
Do not care, sir.
There's more of a collective effort and a collaboration than it is whether it is the truth or not. I mean, it is a type of truth. It is my truth. It is Kim's truth.
No, if it ain't the truth, it's a lie.
So yeah, we live in a terrible time. Cause I mean, like, this is some dark shit to just try to jump into to get a quick buck off of. And like an unscrupulous motherfucker like this is he's getting the interviews, he's getting the, and if this is anything like fucking DJ Vlad, I wonder if they pay people for interviews. So I wonder if he got a check to sit down and just be like, yeah, I'm playing black people's face with this bullshit in a very serious situation where there's literally over 100 people who are saying they've been assaulted by this man. And yeah, to me, it's just a way to get a quick Amazon check, quick Kindle check.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see
the book's not fucking spell checked. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's anyway. Sorry.
That's number one. Commas.
Like, that's crazy.
Semicolons. What's happening here?
Why are y'all even talking to him like he care?
Oh, he don't.
That should be the only question. Like, why the fuck is this shit is not even like edited or spell checked? Why am I supposed to believe it's a collaborative effort and not just a fucking cash grab?
And it's an insult to people that actually wrote real books.
Yeah. All right. Let's move out of this and get into some other news. All right, DJ Jaffa Turn is the name of that beat. Olivia Nuzzi, the RFK lady, the woman that sent the titties to RFK.
That lady, yes.
She now is accusing her ex-fiance of orchestrating blackmail campaign. So I get, and look, it could, multiple things could be true.
That's true. Two things could be true.
I wouldn't put it past him finding this shit out and that being how we all found out, because we don't really know how they found out. Like, no one ever came out and said like, yo, so like what made us go, you been sending your titties to RFK Jr.? Like, I know he allegedly told somebody over like a lunch or something, but is that enough to like trigger all of this? I wonder. Anyway, New York Magazine writer Olivia Nuzzi is publicly accusing her ex-fiance Ryan Lizza, of a prominent political journalist with Politico, of orchestrating a harassment and blackmail campaign against her after their split. And while Nuzzi had a personal relationship with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the accusations, which Nuzzi made in a filing and before a judge in Washington, D.C. Superior Court this week, and which he denies, are the latest explosive twist to emerge from the fallout of her previously undisclosed relationship with Kennedy, the former independent presidential candidate, and as the national political press has turned the saga into a discussion of journalism ethics. Nuzzi wrote in a court filing that in mid-August, Lizza explicitly threatened to make public personal information about me to destroy my life, career, and reputation, a threat he has since carried out. It's so funny because I feel like everyone's playing like this deflection game. Like RFK Jr.'s deflection is like, hey man, bitch kept sending me titties. I didn't want to see them. And then obviously her deflection is this like, hey, it was blackmail. But no one's coming out and being like, I didn't do it.
Nobody is saying it wasn't me.
Yeah, it's like, not the same as being innocent.
Right. Everybody, basically they saying this shit is true. Now we trying to pin the blame on how it got out there.
Yeah, like
basically
totally
that's what's happening now.
Nuzzi said she was placed on leave last month by New York Magazine while it conducts a third-party review after the allegations. Lizza, Politico's chief Washington correspondent and playbook co-author, wasn't in attendance at a court hearing Tuesday where Nuzzi was granted a temporary no contact order against him. Requests like those are typically the first actions in domestic disputes in court and granted quickly by judges, often without opposing party even knowing. so it doesn't really symbolize there's like evidence like he's gonna do something to her. But
Right.
Lizza hasn't responded to the allegations in court, but he did provide a statement to CNN. I'm saddened that my ex-fiance will resort to making a series of false accusations against me as a way to divert attention from her own personal and professional failings. I emphatically deny these allegations and will defend myself against them vigorously and successfully.
Yeah, you talking about that court thing. One reason why they do that is because fucking abusers.
Yeah.
So they were like, you come, you don't come, we don't care. We're just gonna grant it.
It's better safe than sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna grant it just in case you're an asshole or a dick. This person is covered.
So October 15th is when their hearing is set. Nuzzy said she believes Lizza began his alleged harassment at the beginning of July as a way to blackmail her into a relationship with him and punish her when she wouldn't acquiesce. She said by the next month, Lizza had stolen her personal electronic device from her, was hacking her devices, then anonymously shopping information about her to the media. Some of the information may have been doctored to hurt her more, she alleged. She believes Lizza impersonated an anonymous campaign operative to give a political campaign information that would hurt her further, according to court records. Nuzzy also accused Lizza, potentially through a third-party anonymous channel, of tipping off her employer last month about what she calls the matter. RFK Jr. is not referred to by name in the court record. Here's what I'll say. I don't know how much evidence you have to present in a hearing like this,
right?
But I'm not hearing evidence. I'm hearing a lot of he may have, he could have. It might have been like, it's not like I caught him doing this shit, so it's gonna be interesting to see, because there should be evidence of this digital evidence. People you can like
people can verify that shit.
Yeah, you should be able to bring people in and be like, well, where'd you get this email from? When did you get it? You know, that kind of thing. So yeah, this is so messy. Hot white goss. The judge signed off on her request to have police escort her, accompany her back to like where they live to get her possessions. They lived together since last year. So yeah. The drama continues.
Apparently so. The chamomile tea is spilling.
Speaking of drama, Nicki Minaj seemingly defends her husband against accusations of restrictions around children and playgrounds.
What? We know it's a real thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we know about the conviction. We know about the court orders and all that stuff. But people online have been saying stuff, and I don't know if it's proven or not, but it's just like, well, since he has this case and we know he should be registered as a sex offender, we know that's a fact. We know that he got in trouble for not registering and all this stuff. And so people say stuff like he can't be around schools and playgrounds and stuff like that, which could absolutely be true. I don't know the particular laws of where she stays and how that works. Anyway, she shared a photo of them posing on what appears to be an indoor playground and put it on Twitter with the caption, "They used to be giving y'all the hashtag fake news so loud and proud. I thought a brain vessel was gonna pop. You'd have to have a brain for that though. Hashtag Gag City, Kansas City tonight. NickiMinajOfficial.com." All I'm saying is this, Karen. Do you know how down bad you have to be to think it's a flex to have your husband pictured on an indoor playground where no children are even at? That's bad. That's real bad.
The stunt for the motherfucking internet.
The fact that you think it's a stunt, that's I don't know how to tell it. This is normal for everybody.
Yes, it is.
This is the default. A grown-up adult should be able to take a picture by some swings and not be a problem. This is only a flex if, you're married to a sex offender who's not supposed to be doing these things. I let them run with at hashtag fake news drag for years just so I could get this good laugh. I'm a different type of hoe. Petty. Kansas City tonight is the night.
That's another way to spell hoe?
Yeah. The New Orleans way. HEAUX. I guess if she thinks, you know what it is too. I bet you if I click on a tweet, there's a bunch of barbs and stands, and I think she's hyper online and hyper in seeing all this shit.
You got rabbit ears,
and so I wouldn't be shocked if she really did think like, "Yep, That'll show them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they go with her flying monkeys and run out there and be
Yeah.
like, see y'all, see?
They be fighting online about it. It's
Yeah,
true.
they do. It ain't that serious, but yes.
Pras Michelle sues Lauryn Hill alleging fraud and mismanagement and canceled Fuji store. Get in line, buddy. Get in line.
They lost a lot of money over that.
Yeah, he said he wants fraud, breach of contract, and mismanagement. He's accusing her of those. He claims that the tour, which had the potential to be a major success, suffered from her financial mismanagement. He alleges she diverted funds from the tour for personal gain, leaving the rest of the group without their fair share. The suit also addressed the abrupt cancellation of the second half of the tour in November 2023, which Hill attributed to vocal strain. The lawsuit goes on to describe several incidents where Michelle believes Hill acted unfairly, including her decision to turn down a $5 million offer for the Fugees to perform at Coachella. According to Michelle, she rejected the deal because she didn't want to share the stage with No Doubt, who were headlining the same night. Michelle claims he was unaware of the offer until it was too late. I hate to tell Pras this. I mean, he got other problems, legally.
Mm-hmm.
But bruh, they there for Lauryn. They might be there for Wyclef. They not there for you, baby. They not. I'm sorry, Pras. I'm sorry this happened to you. I'm sorry you got your hopes up.
Me too. I'm sorry this happened to you too.
But it's no way. Well, I can't believe they didn't tell me, Pras. Now you know they don't gotta tell you.
They probably don't.
Pras, they just text you what time the concert is and to show up. You know you at that level. You're not making decisions, baby. Come on now, Pras.
Well, and if you would have said yeah, they'd be like, well, we said no, so it don't matter what you think.
I mean, I get why you would be pressed the most about the money and shit.
Yes.
It makes sense. Like, I'm not mad at you on that. And I get your coins, get your suit on. But being like, I can't believe they didn't tell me. Nigga, because if Lauryn says no, it's no for you too.
Right.
If Wyclef says no, guess what else that means? It's no for you too.
Right. You because trust, you ain't doing Coachella by yourself.
Right. Why would they tell you? So you can rock down to Electric Avenue? No, my nigga, it's over. You're going to be at the crib on Coachella night unless you buy a ticket. That's the only way you getting in as Proswell. Now you can get in as the Fugees. Shit, you can get in as Lauryn Hill featuring Wyclef Jean and Proswell and Michelle. But you can't get in as some motherfucking Pras, nigga. Come on. We all skip your verses. That's why they last on the album. We be like, oh yeah, we can go to the next song. I would say no offense, but there's no way he can't take offense to what I'm saying. It's just, but come on. Let's be honest with each other. The lawsuit accuses Hill of securing an 18-show U.S. tour in 2024 without informing Michelle. He believes her lack of urgency in finalizing the deal and minimal marketing efforts led to low ticket sales, resulting in the tour's cancellation.
What? So she made her own personal tour without you, and you get mad because you can't get no coins off of her tour? Get the fuck out of my face.
He also points out the canceled tour came at a difficult time for him as he was dealing with mounting legal fees related to his involvement in the 1MDB financial scandal. He claims Hill exploited his situation by mishandling the tour funds and further complicating the group's reunion.
Yeah, you basically said they didn't care about my financial situation. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I feel him on all this stuff, and maybe he got a case. So I guess we'll find out in court.
We'll find out. Pull out the paper.
He lost me at they wasn't telling me stuff. Come on, Pras. You know why they wasn't telling you stuff. We gonna pretend that we know. Come on. I can't pretend to be mad about it. Not on your behalf. The Boars head shit got bad, Karen. The plants nationwide are now a part of a law enforcement investigation, the USDA says.
Shout out to having people over these federal government agencies that care, because this the shit that matters. Deregulation fucking matters. Yeah. Deregulations matter because these are the departments that make sure people don't fucking die from their food. That's their whole goddamn job, is to be sure to, and you need a federal agency to go in and get in their asses and be like, y'all need to clean this shit. You need to shut this shit down. You need to, because if you allow them to do what they want to do, they wouldn't give a fuck. if they could make it where people couldn't sue them, they'd be like, fuck it. It is what it is. Yeah. Who cares if 200 people died in the city? Fuck it. Our shit is sold. No, you need to be held accountable.
You know what I think is going to be interesting in addition to what you're saying, because I agree, letting Trump strip out the money and the resources of federal regulatory agencies is terrible. But after this Obergefell ruling, the one where it's basically like federal agencies don't have oversight compared to industry, whatever the judge feels is the industry standard, which the judge could say, or they could call in an industry expert who could be on the payroll of the company and be like, nah, you don't need to do that. I wonder when we're going to get our first thing like this, where the FDA or the Federal Justice Department of Justice takes someone to court and the fucking company wins, because the company is able to convince one of these judges, whether it's a conservative or Republican judge or whatever, convince one of these judges that the experts in the FDA that created these standards actually don't know what they're talking about, and that it's perfectly safe to have, whatever bullshit is happening in these plants.
Mm-hmm. And people dying and they not giving a fuck.
Because that is now possible. Like, that was not possible before.
Right.
But that is now possible, that like you bring in the FDA and that they bring in their expert witnesses and that created the industry standards, and then the industry just brings in their own person. Like, nah. Mm-mm. At least 59 hospitalizations and 10 deaths have been linked to Listeria strain traced back to Boarhead products distributed from a now shuttered plant ran in Virginia. While that Boarhead plant in Virginia had been written up dozens of times by inspectors over violations, CBS News first reported in August, based on records obtained through a Freedom of Information Act. Violations flagged at the plant by agricultural officials included mold and insects found throughout the site.
Oh,
Boar's Head really fucked up, because Boar's Head was considered the premium deli meat.
Yes.
So like it was a big day when you got that Boar's Head sale. It's like, oh shit, they got the Sausalito turkey, $5.99. Fuck Publix. I'm getting, fuck my Harris Teeter brand.
Yeah, and I find funny, a lot of the delis, particularly if you go to delis, like you said, your Harris Teeters, your Publix, probably your Wegmans, that Boys had, some of them had like their own fucking section.
That's what I mean.
Like
they were considered the premium,
right? So now
everybody, I don't know another company that has a section. I only know Boar's Head, or you get whatever the store has.
You're right.
Period.
Yeah, I don't know, and I'm pretty sure there's other brands out there, but don't nobody know who you are.
So this fucked them up all the way, because I'm like, now your brand is associated with bugs and Listeria,
and people gonna stop buying that shit.
Yeah, I can't see myself buying anymore. Honestly, like I think I'm done. I don't know how they fix this. Like, when it was one plant, I was like, okay, well, they shut that plant down.
Right.
Maybe. Now they got other plants. The FSIS disclosed the existence of the probe in a letter on Thursday, when it denied a CBS News request for records on Boar's Head's other plants in Michigan, Arkansas, and Indiana, since the records are being compiled for law enforcement purposes. Public records officials for FSIS said releasing them could hinder the government's ability to further control and shape the investigation. Given the ongoing investigation related to this matter, FSIS is withholding 93 pages in full. This comes the same day as Senator Richard Blumenthal and Representative Rosa DeLauro, both Connecticut Democrats, to the USDA and Department of Justice. Sent a letter to the USDA and Department of Justice urging them to consider criminal charges. So I don't know if somebody go to jail is in like most corporate criminal charges, or just be some money that gets it. But whatever, something about to happen.
Yeah, and also it would not be, not that they was doing a great job before, but what happened during COVID, they couldn't do a lot of investigation during COVID. So you basically had like 2 years of them not being able to get to other places and all that shit. So now for a lot of them, and they were short of people that actually could do the inspections and shit like this. They didn't have enough, basically across the country, because they had the federal ones and they have, the ones in your state. That go around in your local city and county municipalities that also go around and do inspections too. But when it comes to these plants, I'm pretty sure that's a special type of training, unlike the regular restaurants. And So they had a long time of just doing literally whatever the fuck they wanted to. And now the federal go, hey, let's start ramping this shit back up. We're getting this shit where people are dying. And it wouldn't be surprising if more plants and shit start getting busted and shut down up underneath this. And this is the shit that I want to continue. This is why voting matters, because who you put in office will determine if this shit got swept underneath the rug, or if the federal government comes in and start fining and feeing and shit like this. Because not trying funny, if you do this, how are you actually treating your employees? Your employees had to be around this shit. I bet you they're gonna find out employees were getting sick, because not trying funny, your employees are firsthand. They touching it. They around all this mold and mildew and all this other bullshit. So I'm pretty sure that they're trying to say, okay, during this period of time, how many employees were out? How many employees were sick? What were they out for? Did any of them get hospitalized? Like, allow them to do their job, to hold these companies accountable, because these companies don't give a fuck. Unless you hold them accountable, they do not care. They want to sell you a product, and they don't care if it kills you or not.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's see. Let's get into a different segment. Just look and see what I want to talk about. Yeah, let's do some fucking with black people. And yeah, I'll play the song and we'll get to fucking with them blacks, everybody.
Boom, 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 boom. Hey, we're just fucking with them people because they black. We're just fucking with them people because they black. We're just fucking with them black people. We're just fucking with them blacks. We're just fucking with black people. Hey, hey, you are.
All right, fucking with black people. Go around the globe, find different articles that fuck with us, and we score them from 0 to 100 in intervals of 25 for how much we feel fucked with as black people. Today's contestants, everybody. Caitlin Clark speaks out against racist trolls targeting WNBA players. It's definitely upsetting. So this is not the first time she's spoken out about these motherfuckers. There's been this influx of fans, which I put in quote, especially an online contingent of essentially white racist trolls. And they're prominently, they're people who have been white racist trolls, but the WNBA is a different style and culture of league. Dave Portnoy is a dude that is synonymous with very racist edgelord white boy humor, and everything at Barstool Sports is considered that. There's Outkick. Outkick is literally like the place that employed Jason Whitlock. Outkick used to write very offensive bullshit about game theory every week. I didn't platform it by coming on the podcast complaining too much about it. I actually didn't give a fuck. It was like, this is gonna happen because we're making a black ass late night show, and they're gonna harass Bomani and put his name and all kinds of bullshit.
Right.
Whatever. But they have used Caitlin Clark to be like this cudgel, to be like, hey, we're going to shit on this black woman LGBTQ league, and say that this white woman is the greatest thing that ever happened to him, greatest player to ever play, and admonish all the other accomplishments previous, all the current accomplishments from other players. And we're going to do it under the guise of, we just like Caitlin Clark. But they don't like or give a fuck about Caitlin Clark. It's
or care about the sport.
Yeah, they don't really like the sport. They're not really about showing up to games, watching the games. It's the only time they share something is a clip of her getting fouled to be like, look at this league. And so there's been this pressure, I'd say undue pressure, because I think there's been a failure to recognize that there's literally nothing she can do about this. That's the trick of it all, is that people still think if she comes out strongly enough that the racist people will go, oh, okay. But that's not going to happen. And it'll take a while if people ever realize it. And I think also there's some resentment about just her privilege and all this other shit that is like caught up in this of like, you know, the fact that you even get to like treat this as a thing that can be ignored is due to your privilege, is how a lot of people feel. There's arguments to and for against that. That's not what this segment's about. But so she gets asked about it. She says, definitely upsetting. Nobody in our league should be facing any sort of racism, hurtful, disrespectful, hateful comments or threats. She said, those aren't fans, those are trolls, and it's a real disservice to the people in our league, the organization, and the WNBA. She said, there are a lot of really good fans, whether they've been supporters for 20 plus years or they're new to the league. The best thing we can do is continue to uplift this league in a positive light, right? And she also said she addressed the comparisons. I don't even know if this is the same interview, but she says the comparisons between her and like Angel Reese and those racial undertones. She said, for me, that's why I became a fan of this league. These people were my idols. I grew up wanting to be like them. So continue to uplift and represent this league in a positive way is the best thing we can do. And so the thing for me, because I've tried to be as fair as possible, call balls and strikes. I really don't think it's about Caitlin Clark. I think a lot of people I think the racist people won. I hate to say that. I think the racist trolls, they literally won. And part of the reason that they won is because the leaguership was not prepared to like publicly push against this.
Yes, and admonish it, right.
And I said on this show for a minute now that this was a race war, that this is what was coming to the WNBA. This is what was happening in women's college basketball. Everyone was in denial, saying it was about some other shit. No, it's just about race. You got racist people that want to fight about it. You got black people that feel offended,
right,
and are lashing back out. And there's no fairness in that. People just it's winner take all. People want to win the race war. But the thing that truly makes people lose is the lack of anticipation of it from the top down. Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner of the league, when asked about this, basically punted on the question. Like they were like, what's up with all this racism and shit? And she was just basically like, this is growing pains of growing a league. Like, this is what happens. Your league gets bigger, and then you get these people. And look, we just need to stop paying attention to the online trolls, and we need to just,
they're harassing your fucking players, dog. Your employees.
Right. And she is a white lady. I don't know her sexual orientation or not, but she's a white lady. So I think a lot of that has something to do with, this dynamic in the WNBA, which is that the league and the media wants to promote white, heterosexual women as the face of this league, because that is what America thinks will lead to the most prominence. Like, I want you to close your eyes and associate this league with Kelsey Plum. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing. I want you to think about, whoever, like Brianna Stewart or something like just don't think Ionescu. Don't think about the Brittany Griner. Don't think about her as a face of this league. Brittany Griner has some interesting thoughts too about ignoring the trolls online and stuff. Now she's been through it with the Russia shit and the target of right-wing people. So I think she actually has a good point, but she also brought up the league on their website, on their social media posts, could be blocking and deleting these trolls, not letting them be part of the conversation.
Right.
You don't have to do this.
Right. Particularly on your official shit, when they start coming, have somebody, because you have social media people who sees this shit, be like, delete, block, delete. Like, don't even allow their shit to even appear. Like, if you want to take that stand, because guess what? They don't have a right to post on your shit.
And like, I do understand the broader point people are trying to have, that is this idea of like, listen, these internet racist trolls exist, and there's not a methodology that will stop them from existing. So if your goal is to get the racism to stop online, it's not going to happen. Especially not Twitter, which is a platform run by a racist right-wing person. Like you're always going to be harassed. And I do understand that point, but I think you're missing the forest for the trees when that is the point that you make. Because the next point that comes along with that is this idea of like, and this is what it takes to grow the league. You said you wanted the league to grow. And I find that to be so patently offensive and condescending that people keep making the same fucking point. And it's not true. It is not true that in order for a league to grow, it must accept the harassment and bigotry of these quote unquote fans. That's actually not true. And I know y'all don't believe that. And the reason I know y'all don't believe that is because of the NBA. I'm coming back to that in a second. This was the last straw for me. This woman showed up to a game, this white lady, with a t-shirt that says "Ban Nails," and it's her with a bunch of fake prosthetic nails. And it's about Dejanay Harrington, and it's like picking on her eyelashes and her nails that she wears and stuff like that. And it's just like, you know, like ha. Now it's obviously in some racial overtones, racialized overtones, because that's black women culture right there. Now you could say, oh, she's just being a fan, but it's like when people showed up to the game to mock Colin Kaepernick, and it's a white guy wearing a fro rig, and you're like, I know what you're doing. Like, you're not gonna come out and put your black face on, but I know what you're doing. Ha is, I don't like this player and it's funny. The way they look is, their culture is funny to me, right? And so once somebody like this shows up to the game, that's not social media. That's not a troll per se. That's not someone you can just block. That's someone at the game, you know? The thing I would point out to everyone who's making this argument, and it's been a lot of people participating in it. Stephen A. Smith has made versions of this argument. Robert Littell from Black Sports Online made versions of this argument. Shannon Sharp obviously has made versions of this argument. Kathy Engelbert, I would say, made a version of this argument, although a lot more toned down. But a lot of the brothers making the argument, they do it with a lot of condescension and anger and like scolding the black players in the WNBA. Like, don't y'all want money? Shouldn't y'all just be happy y'all getting private jets? Something that was in the work before Caitlin Clark came along, by the way. Shouldn't y'all just be happy? The game was growing. Like, we wrote a whole deep dive on game theory. Shout out to Heaven and Elena who wrote it about just the growth of women's college basketball. Now, the growth of college basketball in America leads to the growth of professional basketball because fans follow their favorite players to the next step. So my point being, y'all don't really apply that evenly to everybody, by which I mean when Russell Westbrook confronted racist Utah Jazz fans and became a thing. Like, and Russell is known as a fiery guy who will confront fans to this day. But when he confronted them and called out their specific racism in that arena, in J.L. Covan's favorite arena, the home of the Vanilla Gorilla, as he calls himself. But when he called them out, a cascade of other NBA players came out of the woodwork and said, yes,
that happens to us there too.
It is racist in there. The fans are out of fucking control.
Right.
We don't appreciate it. We're not going to be silent about it. And now maybe it's because it was George Floyd time. I don't know. But
maybe because it was men.
Maybe because it was men. But the league didn't make this argument of like, we're growing the game, or this is just part of what it is to be a big time American sport. You know what they did? They gave those players the empowerment to get those fans kicked the fuck out the arena.
Right. They have a choice.
They sent a firm message. You have a problem with one of our players and you say some racist, disrespectful shit to them. You call Russell Westbrook a boy because you know it'll get under his skin. It's going to get under your skin too because you ain't coming back to no fucking games.
They were banning them.
Yes, banning them for life. Get the fuck out. We don't want your money.
Right.
You know, when it was when it was Donald Sterling who owned the Clippers, an owner, don't get more big money than the fucking owner. When he was caught saying some like racist shit, the league mobilized to get him the fuck out of there. Like, you can't own a team. You better sell this shit. So this idea that we just put up with it because this is just what it takes to grow a sport is not true.
Right.
If this same shit happened, matter of fact, I think they had a similar situation in college basketball where I want to say Duke's women's team, where there was a racial incident. Nobody was saying this is just what it is, guys. More people are paying attention to the women's game. You got to let them just do what they do. No. So we don't really believe that. So if your argument is this is part of American culture, you're just going to have to deal with it. What about the native culture of the WNBA? Because last time I checked, WNBA culture is we got zero tolerance for this bullshit.
Right. And
that culture was established before Caitlin Clark showed up. And it's going to be there long after she's gone.
Ain't that the truth?
Like, the end of the day, they don't play. They got their owner, Loeffler, who was a Republican politician who her family co-owned the Atlanta Dream. They made her sell the fucking team.
Yeah, they wore shirts saying vote for her opponent.
Yes.
The games.
This league has been a step ahead of the men's leagues.
Yes, it has.
So anytime you see Black Lives Matter on the court, understand WNBA did that shit first. When they was wearing them shirts, they did that shit first.
Right.
You know, like, this is not the league for your bullshit. They stand up and with and for themselves, LGBTQ people. This is not the league for that. So telling them you need to accept this as part of growth is patently offensive.
Right.
Short-sighted and disrespectful to the culture the league is already established. This isn't new to them.
And the fans that have been going for years, it isn't new to them too. And so for a lot of the people that have been like, look, I've been watching the WNBA for years. I don't mind the growth in, but what y'all not gonna do is fuck up my league because y'all just coming over here with the bullshit.
Then we don't want those dollars is the answer.
Yes.
Nobody wants to hear it, but that's the real answer. Then we don't want the dollars. That's the truth. Is it, oh, well, your league's not gonna grow as big. Good. Then it just won't get as big as it could possibly get. Because we're not going to just start. That's like saying, well, if you put a Confederate flag on the floor, what is the fucking point? When do you go, there's something I'm not willing to do for the money?
Right.
And so this league is growing anyway. The money is the money, by the way. The television contract is the television contract. The revenue sharing that they're probably going to ask for in the next CBA, that just is what it is. That is not going to be a function of how many people came to see Caitlin Clark. That's going to be a function of the league and all the players, the PA, everybody. People got condescending about the statement that the WNBA PA put out about Kathy Engelbert and her lack of support for the fact that the players are going through all this racism, the black LGBTQ players that are dealing with all of this harassment that they weren't before.
Right.
And I saw people being like, this is a very childish statement. They're not ready for big time. Says who? Why does big time have to look like, yeah, man, we just need to deal with the racism and that's just part of it.
Right. We got to put up with these white folks.
To you, maybe. Or maybe they can define big time a different way. They've been defining the culture of this league the whole time and it's been growing. The whole time.
It has.
They were adding teams before Caitlin Clark came here. Stop with this bullshit. And it's not helping her in any way. Because all you're doing is making people blame her for some shit that she's just a fucking 22-year-old player.
It's beyond her control.
That she can't make this racism just go away with a snap of her fingers. They actually don't give a fuck when she makes a statement. And to be honest, y'all don't give a fuck either. Like, no, the people that hate her don't give a fuck either.
No, you keep moving the goalposts and saying that she need to come out and she says something. Why don't you come out harder? She does that. Why don't you come out harder? She does that. Well, then you're just never going to be satisfied. And that's something that you have to deal with.
Yeah, so it's not really gonna be about. It's like not really about her on either side.
Agreed.
But the fact that people have this like condescending, chastising tone of like, you ladies just don't know what it's like. Why can't we just believe them that they do know what it's like? They're grown ass women who've been living this life, physically showing up in this world in public for a long time. And if they're like, we should nip this in the bud, I'm going to just have their back and believe them.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that these women, mostly black LGBTQ women, know more about what they're dealing with than some fucking guy who just covers his shit for like Sports Illustrated or Yahoo. No offense to those people, but what the fuck do you really know about squashing some racism in a league like this? What do you know about trying to protect your players? That like a good commissioner says there's gonna be zero tolerance for this.
Agreed.
Period. Not, well, we're growing and it's part of what we need to grow. There, Kristen Brennan, who's a journalist, white lady who's writing a book on Caitlin Clark, which I don't know how involved Caitlin Clark is in the book. If it's just one of those like, I'm writing about you and you can't do shit about it, or if it's like I'm sitting down interviewing whatever's happening though, she ain't helping. Because Kristen Brennan is also saying stuff that is like inflammatory. For example, Dejanay accidentally hit Caitlyn in the face when they were playing the Sun in the first round. Okay, it was an accident. Everybody could see it was an accident. Swiping at the ball, she hit her in the face. She didn't even think she hit her. She thought Caitlyn was faking. It turns out, obviously she wasn't faking.
Right. They called her for the foul or whatever, and everybody kept on moving.
That's like the first quarter. In like the third quarter, Dejanay and another player were laughing on the bench about something wholly unrelated.
I can see that.
Kristen Brennan asked her after the game, like, first of all, did you mean to hit Caitlyn in the face? She's like, no, I didn't even know I hit her in the face. Obviously, I'm not that type of player. I wouldn't have done that.
Right. I don't have a record of that or whatever.
Right.
You're right.
Right. Kristen Brennan then goes on to ask her this follow-up question, which is essentially like, well, when you was laughing in the third quarter, you were laughing about hitting Caitlyn, right? And she's like, no. I just told you I didn't even know I hit her.
It's the third quarter.
Like what are you doing? Basically. And so people started, the WNBA PA called her out and was like, yo, she shouldn't be covering this league.
No, not if you're going to ask these stupid ass questions. I don't blame her.
Now she's defending it, but she's been a bit inflammatory this whole time. I don't know if she just thinks this is like what you need to do to whatever, but she's been kind of like egging this shit on the whole time. And look, if she's a journalist and they can't stop her from covering the league, I don't know how you might not allow her access, but that doesn't necessarily mean a person like this wouldn't be able to cover the WNBA from afar. It doesn't mean you can stop her from putting out this fucking book. And of course, now everybody's worried that this book is just going to be these black bitches was beating up on this poor white girl the same way that Stephen A. Smith sounded, the same way that Shannon Sharp sounded, that type of bullshit. Jason Whitlock, all these people sounded like that. Meanwhile, the women that cover the WNBA, the women that cover the league for years, none of them are saying this bullshit.
Not only that.
Is that not interesting?
Not only that, people that have been covering the league for years and shit like this, like you say, they don't ask them stupid ass questions. And a lot of them have been, they talk about all the players.
I think Kristen Brennan may have been covering the league for years. Like, I'm not saying Kristen Brennan is new to this.
But you were talking about like the black women, but that's the thing. You don't have a problem with them doing this. So
yeah, I'm saying, is it a coincidence that these black women, brown women, people that have professionally covered this league before Caitlin Clark got here, none of them are walking around feeling like, yeah, man, they're just beating up on Caitlin Clark because she's a little white girl.
Right.
Like all of them. And I don't think it's just a racial solidarity thing. I as a guy who just loves basketball, I'm like, all rookies take their licks. That's part of it.
You get your ass whooped. Yes.
But this idea that she's like this helpless victim on the court that's just constantly being beaten and like that's crazy. And it's a crazy framing. And it might move ratings, get clicks, but it is so fucking offensive. And so I find it to be disrespectful, and it is now seeping in off of the internet into real life. And I think the league has to address it.
Yes, they do. They have to address it because, like you said, these are people who live these lives every day. You have to address it for the fucking safety of your players.
You have to address it, and you have to squash it down, and you have to make some changes. Like, listen to your players. Like, I've heard several good ideas just in the last few days that I'm like, yes, why? That's so easy to do. Delete those comments off of the social media stuff. Don't allow people to just come on your page, say racist, bigoted shit like it's okay. No, that y'all need to hire. If you need to have a full-time person, then you have a full-time fucking person. Block
Right.
everybody. I don't give a fuck. Make it so you have to approve comments. Whatever you need to do. This is a league that has to be protected differently than some other leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely like to see some training. Like, some players and some media people have some mandatory training on this shit. I don't mean like individually, like call each one out, but like, hey, we're covering this league and we're dealing with some growing pains, but we're also dealing with some zero tolerance racism shit that we don't want to have to address and deal with individually. Collectively, these are the talking points. Period. This won't be tolerated.
Yeah.
Like, because to their credit, I haven't seen any player participate in this shit. And I think that's major. Because that tells you the culture of the league, by the way. Like, in the NBA, you still got some motherfuckers that's on some Make America Great Again shit that will vocally come out and be like, it's my right. There are zero of those in the WNBA. The culture is zero tolerance already. The league needs to pick that up. The office needs to pick that up and be like, yes, that is the culture of our league. Zero tolerance.
Right.
You come in here doing some racist shit, you get kicked the fuck out the game. Period. The other thing I think they could do is they should, and I saw this on Twitter, and I wish I had saved the person's name who said it. But someone brought up a great idea, is that they should have a league campaign. The same way that you have campaigns for stuff like voting.
Yes.
They need a league campaign of zero tolerance.
Yes, zero tolerance. Yeah, like the NBA, like the NBA cares. Yes.
Every time I go to an NBA game, they still have the like, you gonna get kicked out this game, you act a fucking fool.
Every single time the lady come on the PA system and she be like, look, you act a fool, we got the right to put you out of here. You may get suspended, fined, and or arrested.
And I'm sure they have that at WNBA games too. But I think they have to go further because their players are more under attack at this moment. And you need to have like a vocal campaign. And the prominent players in the league need to all be in it. Because I think you're going to have to put, because not everyone is trained to be able to talk like this. This is one of the reasons I don't get into the like Caitlin Clark versus other white girl shit, because it's all fake. Like, Paige and them grew up different. Like, Paige went to a program where like the culture is different. It's more big time. You got black people on it. She grew up in a state where you're playing ball with black people all the time. It's a different fucking culture.
Yes.
Not everybody coming from it is versed in this shit. Not everybody's prominent on the internet and
right.
and heavy on social media. So, okay, fine. No one can make you learn the language of social media, social justice. Like, no one can be like, spend some hours on the internet fighting trolls. But what you can do is you had this campaign and you like, read these lines.
Yes.
And it's very fucking important that you have people like Caitlin Clark, amongst others, sitting up, Angel Reese as well, like sitting there being like, we not finna tolerate this.
Mm-hmm. Right, because it allows them to address it without addressing it. Like, you're addressing it because it's in the campaign.
And it high key, low key tells fans how the fuck they need to react.
Yes.
It's informing fans, hey, this is how the players treat it. This is how the league treats it. This is how you should treat it. Zero tolerance for this hate speech bullshit. And you train the media that way, because you're not going to be able to stop these hot take talking heads like Shannon and Stephen A. Like I said, I made this point to start this off because I know someone's going to write in, but Rod, you can't. I know. I didn't say you can stop racism. I didn't say you can stop Shannon and Stephen A going on the air and being like, oh, Lord Jesus, please don't hit this little white girl. She's just a little white girl. She just want to play ball. Why you black women being so mean? You can't stop them from doing that every time they get a chance so they can go viral on Twitter. But you can say the culture of our league is more important than growing it with racist, harassing trolls.
Agreed.
Who, in my opinion, are not growing the league. I don't think Dave Portnoy is growing the league. I don't think Outkick Sports is growing the league. And to empower them with that growth by giving them credit for it, you are capitulating to the racists and the bigots immediately. You are saying to them that you are what is growing the WNBA. That is not true.
Right, because a lot of times the people don't stick around.
That is just not true.
Right.
You're not growing the WNBA. Cut that shit out. If you think people are reading those hit pieces on black women and going, can't wait to go to a game, you're out of your fucking mind. The league is way more of the black women and the LGBT people than it is Caitlin Clark's.
Yes.
So if you think these people sign up for season tickets and all this shit, because that's what they're doing. They're not just going to see Caitlin Clark. They're going to see WNBA teams play.
Right.
Period. If you think that's what's happening, then you're sorely mistaken. If you think that these racist people are tuning in and that's what millions of people want to watch is a white girl get beat up by black women and fight about it, you're wrong. Like, I'm not saying that Caitlin Clark's not box office. They're definitely watching her for her skill set. They're watching where she shoots the ball from. All that stuff is great. It's fun. But whatever percentage it is that you think are just watching to be racist, don't empower them by giving them credit for the rest of these motherfuckers that came just to see some basketball.
Right.
Period. So I like I said, that whole thing, I'm glad she spoke up, obviously, but this is like her second or third time. It don't matter. The league needs to step in and say, we don't want this. Fuck what y'all, then just be condescending. Be mad. But we don't think we need to grow like this.
Be mad.
All right, I want to watch the vice presidential debate. So 0 to 100.
For Caitlin Clark, a 0. For the racism, 100.
Yeah, I give it a Dracarys. The woman showing up with the nails.
That was a lot.
Yeah, it's not really about Caitlin Clark. This whole situation, I waited till, we really saw how this shit unfolded. And honestly, I'm very disappointed in the league, in the commissioner.
The front office, right.
And I'm very disappointed in the lack of a plan from the front offices. And I'm very disappointed in the media who, especially so many of these men who wrote this condescending, this is just what it takes to grow the league bullshit. You should be ashamed of yourselves. And you're hypocrites. Because when it was the men, you didn't believe this.
Right.
When it was Kaepernick, you didn't believe this. You didn't write a bunch of pieces about this just what it takes. He got to go. Fuck it. Black lives don't matter. Stop putting that shit on the field. You didn't say that. So you do think there's a stand that needs to be taken against racism. But not when it's women. Now, then they just got to take it. Fuck out of here. All right, y'all. That's it. We'll be back maybe tomorrow. Definitely Saturday for feedback. Ballsy Sports is going to be Friday.
Okay.
And yeah, that's it for now. So until next time, I love you.
I love you too.